Hello lovely people of the world, Monster Gear to you, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. In the previous episode, I don't know what you watched. You may have just started this Let's Play, you may have seen that we've gotten the shrine way off over there, but I don't know. It's up to you to decide the order you're watching this Let's Play in, so I don't know what you watched in the previous episode. And this may sound repetitive if you've seen episode 2 already, because I said pretty much the same thing in that video. But that's basically how the structure of these intros is going to work. Because this Let's Play is going to be an open world series, that's basically how it's going to work, where I'm not going to be saying what we did in the previous episode, because I have no idea what you did watch in the previous video that you were watching. That was a very repetitive sentence, and I am not sorry. This is my channel, I can do whatever I want. So instead what we'll be doing is I'm going to be giving you a bit of a rundown on what we've accomplished so far in my playthrough of this game. So even though you may have not quite seen it yet, I will give you a rundown of what we've accomplished so far, so that you're up to speed on what my experience so far is like. So in episode 2, we finished off the next shrine, and we also got some materials needed to go into the mountains. So we could go across this direction. Oh, also we fought a field monster in the previous video, and that was pretty fun too. Okay, so the stamina, I gotta say, the stamina in this game, it feels so weird trying to get used to this again, because Breath of the Wild is a pretty long game if you're going for 100% completion, and I always go for 100% completion whenever I replay through this game, so it always feels so weird going right back to having just a normal stamina like this. Okay, so that shrine way off over there, that's going to be the first one we'll be taking care of in this video, so that's going to be something that's pretty neat. So, to do that, we need to go into the mountains. And mountains, as you may or may not know, they can be cold. So, if we try going in there right now, we're more likely than not going to freeze to death. However, there are a couple options that we can do to make sure that we don't do that, because freezing to death isn't exactly my ideal way of going out in this world. So, as you can see, if we go over here, the temperature drops dramatically, and it's getting so cold that we'll be taking damage over time. Like if you go into the pause menu real quick, you can see Link is freezing. It's actually kind of adorable. So, one thing that we did accomplish in the previous episode of the playlist was we managed to get the Warm Doublet. So, if you want a quick rundown on how to get this, basically you need to get a recipe near the house that requires some raw meat, some seafood, and some chili peppers. The raw meat can be found in the forest, the seafood can be found near lakes, and there's usually some chili peppers right here that you can get as well. But we are not going to be using that to go across this mountain yet. Instead, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be demonstrating something else that you can do. If we have some wood and we have some flint, we can drop this on the ground, smack it with a metallic weapon, and give ourselves a little torch thingy. So now we can light up the torch, and we should be fine this way. And because I'm pretty sure people in the audience have been complaining about this for the past couple episodes, we're going to be going through the mountains without a shirt. All shall fear my abs. Alright, so as long as you have a torch, you should be okay. So, can I just talk about this real quick? Because I have a bit of a fun story about this. This isn't my story or anything like that. It's just a bit of a fun story to talk about when it comes to the Zelda series in general. So, when Nintendo was first demonstrating the gameplay of this game at E3 2016, they had this one lady doing a demonstration of the snowy portion of the Great Plateau, and she did the entirety of that playthrough with Link shirtless. Can I just say that, of all the people who've demonstrated things during the Nintendo Treehouse segments, she's probably like the most adorable one. Unfortunately, I don't remember her name or anything like that, but of all the people that I've seen doing the Treehouse demonstrations, she's one of the ones that I always find the most fun to watch, because she was like going through the snowy area, and she was like, "I'm sorry, everybody. I know I know you want to see Link shirtless in the segment, so this is always something that's really fun to think about." So another thing that you could do if you're going across this area, we also have a recipe that we could eat that's the spicy meat and seafood fry. This is, how do I do the recipe again? There we go. This is the recipe if you want to see it, and this is the one that you'll need to get if you want to get the warm doublet. You could eat that, which will give you some invincibility from the heat for a short time, but we're doing the strategy first because I'm pretty sure people in the comments have been complaining about like not being shirtless. Alrighty then, so let's go over here and this background is so pretty. This is such a pretty game. This is such a pretty game. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. I know I'm recording this off a capture card, but still. Alright, so what's the safest way we can get down? Let's go this way. Alright, let's go. Let's go. No. That's the exact opposite direction I want to go in. I de-equipped this torch! No! Okay, whatever. We're just gonna face this like a man. We're gonna be manly and go through the mountains without a shirt. Okay, so... Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest about something, and... So, when Breath of the Wild was first coming out, back when it was still called Zelda, there were a lot of rumors about a female Link being playable, or at the very least, Zelda herself being playable in this game. So, I was really hoping this was true, and unfortunately it's not in this game. You can only play as Link, so there's no Linkle or anything like that, unless you're playing with a ROM hack that lets you play as Linkle or Zelda or Bowsette for some reason. But, yeah, that's... One thing that I would definitely confess right now is, when they showed off the fact that you can remove your armor in this game, my first thought was, wow, I really hope they have a female Link in this game. Roasting ingredients. Throw ingredients like mushrooms or fish directly into the fire to roast them and up their health benefits. I did not get a chance to finish writing that. To you who sets foot in this shrine, I am Daim. In the name of the goddess Hylia, I offer this trial. Stasis trial. Hooray for editing! So, now we have the Stasis rune. Now, basically how this works is that whenever you take the rune out and you can see a glowing object like that, you can freeze them in place. So you can freeze platforms like that, and you can, whenever you want, or things like that. That's probably not the best way to grammatically word that. Whenever you use the rune, keep in mind that it's going to need a moment to charge again, so don't go running off in that area just yet. You want to be patient for that. And I know, patience is gross. So, wait for that to go by, or we can immediately deactivate the stasis whenever we want. It's a pretty interesting power. It's kind of like the bomb runes in a way, where we can have them detonate whenever we want. It's sort of the same principle right here, where we can have the stasis ability turned on, and then we can deactivate it whenever we want. And it is fascinating indeed. And going over here, we're going to be introduced to another new weapon. This is an iron sledgehammer. Yeah, sledgehammers are awesome. So maybe you're wondering, what can we use this for? Well, we can smack things all around. Make sure you are not too close to this so whenever it goes off. Otherwise, it's not going to end well for you. I will say, the physics engine in this game kind of can be a little bit glitchy at times when it comes to the Stasis rune, because there'll be times where there's a boulder that's just barely moving around, but then if you bump into it, you'll instantly die because the physics engine still believes that it's moving really quickly. So it can be a little bit buggy at times like that, but buggy can be pretty good for speedrunners, and we'll be talking about that in a moment. This poor monk has been sitting here for about an eternity waiting for us to come by, and we're not even reading his dialogue. I'm just explaining the game physics while he's while he's going through a speech, he's probably rehearsed a billion times. May the goddess smile upon you. Oh no, Thanos got him! Now that we've taken care of that, there's only one more shrine left for us to find. Unless you're watching the alternate route, in which case you still have one more over that direction. But, anyway, we've demonstrated two of the strategies so far of surviving the cold. We demonstrated the torch strategy, and now we can demonstrate this one. So let's eat this real quick. And now let's go looking for another shrine. So I mentioned in the previous episode of the playlist how you're able to shield surf. If you want a refresher on that, you can press the ZL button and then jump, and then the A button, and you'll be able to surf around on your shield like this. This was a gameplay mechanic that was actually introduced in Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, but it was very limited in that game to where it was only really available in one part of the game. So that's something that's a little bit unfortunate, but it was greatly expanded upon in this game, and it is awesome. What you want to keep an eye out for, though, is the fact that whenever you're shield surfing in this game, it's going to break your shield a lot faster. But if you're surfing around in the snow, it doesn't affect the shield durability at all. So you can surf around in the snow to your heart's desire. Okay, so I want to chop down this tree real quick because I want to see if this is going to have something that I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen yet. No, it's just a tree branch. Okay, so there's a type of weapon that can spawn if you cut down a tree like that. That is a choo-choo. Okay, so choo-choos are usually a pretty harmless enemy, or at least they're not a big threat, but that's an elemental choo-choo. And elemental choo-choos are kind of evil this early on in the game, especially now that our defense has been lowered because we're not wearing a shirt. It's kind of funny in video games like this when you see like Link running around shirtless in a mountain like this, and in the original Tomb Raider, Laura's wearing shorts when going through a snowy mountain too. It's always really funny seeing things like that. All right, so this right here, there's a couple ways we could go across this mountain, but the safest bet for us right now is to go over here. If we have something called a Korok leaf, then there's another way we could have gone through this area, and I'm not entirely sure if we'll be able to demonstrate that in this video. Maybe someday soon, but definitely not right now, because we definitely don't have a Korok seed. But there's a boat that had a sail over there, and if we had a Korok leaf, we'd be able to do a special ability where we'd be able to actually sail on the water for a little bit. This is definitely something that I'll show later, but I can't really do that right now. And now you'd be wondering, why am I going this way? The icon tells us to go up there, and we definitely saw the shrine up on top of that cliff over there. Well, I want to go this way first, because there's a couple treasure chests that I want to go collect over there. I'm not entirely sure if I've mentioned this yet, but one thing I want to mention about treasure chests in the overworld is the fact that there's quite a lot of them, and it's going to be kind of hard to keep track of every single one of them. So I'm not going to be going out of my way to get every single treasure chest in the game, because that would kind of make the editing process of these videos way more time consuming than it's already going to be. I mean, those Korok seeds alone is going to make this one of the most complicated Let's Plays that I've ever worked on. But anyway, if you know anything about Okami, then you may know where I'm going with this. If we go behind the waterfall, if we follow the law of Okami, there's a secret behind the waterfall. Ooh. Opening up that treasure chest will give us some fire arrows. This one will give us regular arrows. And this one will give us a spiked Bako bow. That's pretty good, but the inventory is full. Okay, so we can definitely get rid of this one. But yeah, this is the big reason why I wanted to come over here real quick, because there's a lot of really good stuff back here. And now that we're freezing to death, I guess now we'll finally put on a shirt. I'm sorry, people of the audience. Now that we've taken care of all that, the shrine is just up ahead. Quite literally, it's up there, and we need to go on ahead to collect it. Wordplay, yay! Okay, so one thing that's also worth mentioning is that your running speed is going to be a little bit slower when you're going across the snow like this, because snow is a little bit less sturdy to walk across, as you may or may not know. So you definitely want to be careful with that. There are some pieces of armor that'll make it so that we can run faster in the snow, but we're not going to see that for quite a while, so don't get your hopes up on that too much. And like as you can see right here, it's taking us a little while to run uphill in the snow, both ways. And now the shrine is right there. Oh no! Ah, falling boulders of doom. Alright, so definitely keep an eye out for that, because when you're going across areas like this, there is a high probability that you're going to come across some falling boulders and things like that, which isn't very nice at all. So that right there, I'm pretty sure I demonstrated that before, but it's always a good strategy to throw your weapon that's going to break. And this right here is something that I didn't mean to demonstrate quite yet, but it's probably a good idea that I did anyway, because it's a pretty good strategy. Whenever an enemy is about to attack with a melee weapon, you can jump out of the way at the last second, and time will slow down, and you can get some pretty good hits on them. You're not invincible during this, so keep that in mind, you're not invincible. But it is still a really good strategy for taking down more powerful enemies. You could think of this as a sort of adrenaline headshot from Tomb Raider Anniversary, if you will. To you who sets foot in this shrine, I am K. Namut. In the name of the gods Hylia, I offer this trial. And now we have the fourth and final rune we can get on the Great Plateau. Cryonis. It kind of sounds like a World of Xenoblade. So, the Cryonis ability is one that's kind of hit or miss, depending on who you ask. Personally speaking, I love this ability. It's really fun. It's a lot of fun being able to make random blocks of ice appear out of nowhere. And it's just a really interesting ability, and if... Not just for the puzzle solving, but it's also really fun for a defense like this as well, because you can also make enemies like that kind of rise up out of the ground and things like that. It's a pretty fun ability. It's definitely not the most useful one, or the one that we'll see the most interesting uses out of in this game, but it's still a pretty fun ability. I guess it could probably work that a little bit better. So, the thing about Cryonis is that it's definitely a bit more situational than the other abilities, is what I'm trying to say. It's a lot more situational than the other ones. So, like that right there, this entire puzzle revolves around Cryonis, but that's mostly just because the entire area is kind of filled with water, so it's a pretty good tutorial for how this ability works. And now we get the Traveler's Spear, and for once our inventory was not full. That's pretty nice. If only it could be like that forever, but infinite inventory isn't exactly a thing in this game. Your resourcefulness in overcoming this trial speaks to the promise of a hero. In the name of Goddess Hylia, I bestow upon you the Spirit Orb. So I'm pretty sure I mentioned this at some point in one of the previous episodes, but when we go off the Great Plateau, we're not going to be watching these cutscenes. We're going to be skipping over most of them, because they can get pretty repetitive over time. There's a lot of shrines in this game, and it would be a little obnoxious having the same lines of dialogue appear over and over and over and over and over again. So yeah, from here on out, we'll be skipping over most of these.